Yeah.
So these days, as
Yeah.
in when the kids are born, the
Yeah.
Instagram account gets
Is
opened.
yeah.
So just imagine what a mindset shift if
Yeah.
people start building a financial portfolio rather than
Yeah.
opening a Instagram
Absolutely.
account.
Absolutely.
So if you had to give one personal insight to someone who is just starting their financial journey, what would it be?
By not investing, you are downgrading your money value, because if you don't invest, the value becomes lesser.
So let's say if you had 100 rupees to be invested today, how would be the allocation? Would it have mutual funds, debt, global market exposure?
The way I started working, I always take help of team. So either be at home or at office or any place, I don't do everything on my own.
What are the existing loopholes or gaps that you thought are there in the existing ecosystem?
So in indirect taxes, there was one assignment where we found a huge gap for a very large company. So वो light होती है ना दिमाग में बत्ती जलना, that happened at that moment that okay.
So when your first venture didn't go as planned, so I want to know how did you pass yourself through this, navigate yourself through this storm, both financially and emotionally?
Yeah. Ask this question when you make such a big announcement that okay, I am leaving this high paying job and I want to start something on my own. That helped me at least pay my basic expenses. I didn't take home anything, but paying the rents and the employee salary and also I didn't took home anything.
Are you actively involved in the financial decisions for your family? Has the transition evolved?
Yes.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Insights Duo, the space where we uncover raw journeys, unfiltered failures, and courageous transformations. Today's story is not a straight highway. It bends, it breaks, it heals, and it rises. Because as she once said, her life has never been linear, and that's her strength. Today's guest is a chartered accountant by qualification, a Big Four trained expert by experience, and the visionary mind behind BizBrain Advisors, the leading consultancy firm for import and exports. She is also a mother of two, proving every day that family and ambition can rise together. And if you are an entrepreneur, a dreamer, or someone who is going to write your own story, this episode is definitely going to last with you even after the episode ends. Please welcome Mrs. Meenal Booch. So, ma'am, welcome to the show. It's an absolute honor to have you on our show. So, before we deep dive into your achievements and your milestones, I would like to go back to your beginning, your journey. Coming from a small town in Mahua to taking something as challenging and demanding as a CA, and where very few females even step into the world of finance. Yes. So, how has your journey been? Your family, your environment, and your own inner self?
Very good question to begin with, I would say. So, what happens is when you belong to a very small town, you don't have a lot of people to tell you, or you don't have people around you whom you can look up to. And that's a general scenario. But fortunately, I was brought up in a home and in a school where there were a lot of inspirations around me, and somehow there was always a spark within me to do something better than I was doing every day. Fortunate part was, since there was no pressure, I didn't have to prove anything to anyone. I just had to follow what my mind or my thoughts were telling me. So the environment which I had was very positive. So I was never pressured into anything. That it was more like a open environment where I could pursue whatever I felt like doing.
So having
That
a
really helped.
supporting environment is also a base for everyone, even if they want to flourish in their
Yeah.
respective fields.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. So after all the up and down that you had in your CA journey,
Yeah.
how has those setbacks reshaped your relationship with finance, discipline, and self-being?
But what shaped me fundamentally was, you should have your own money with you. A very hard truth, but yes. So the struggles which are faced during my initial CA days, because you live in a hostel or you live with so many roommates around, I felt that okay, you should have your own space. Should For that you need to understand that if you want to achieve something, you need to work towards it. Work really hard. So all these things put together made me believe that you should be independent. In one word, if I say that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, how has your experience been from staying in a close knitted town like Mahua and moving to a fast moving city like Mumbai.
Yeah.
For a young girl who is entering into the finance world, what has been your mindset shift?
Mindset shift has been very, like, it was tremendous, because the first job which I got was in ICICI Bank Mumbai, and that too, that was a corporate house. You should have that inner confidence, and that comes by just thinking and the choices and the decisions which you make on a day-to-day
Obviously,
basis.
surrounding matters a lot.
Yeah.
This is the reason that you are more inclined towards your goal and you can achieve
Yeah.
your goal faster.
Yeah.
So, you already had a very strong corporate career. You were working
Yeah.
in KPMG, you also have worked in Deloitte,
Yeah.
and which is a dream place for many
Yeah.
young CA people.
Yeah.
So, what I have observed is in your case, you moved out of both these corporates.
Yeah.
Generally you didn't walk out, but you walked into entrepreneurship. So
Yeah.
what was going on in your mind at that time? Because this is something which everyone wants to work in Big Four.
Yeah.
What made you come out of Big Four and start something of your own?
Yeah, so you are not the first one to ask this question. And why I took that decision was, I was seeking for few more things. One is, when you jump into entrepreneurship, you take charge of your life. Okay? So I wanted to take charge of my life, and I wanted to build something which really helps large number of entrepreneurs. So while I was transitioning from Big Four to starting my own entrepreneurship, I had few ideas running in my mind. So of course, lot of things didn't work, few things worked, and that is what I am today. So I think taking that charge of changing lot of things is the power which you get when you start on your own.
Absolutely.
Of course, it takes very, very long. It is very difficult. But yes, that was the thought process.
Absolutely. So when your first venture didn't go as planned, so I want to know, how did you pass yourself through this, navigate yourself through this storm,
Yeah.
both financially and emotionally?
Yeah. So when it didn't go well, so I was working to help startups. That was my first idea. Parallelly, I was working on Exim, but at that time, that was a fashion or a fad to work on startup. Even it is today, that okay, if I am not able to focus on what I am trying to achieve, then so that was an emotional. I wouldn't say that was an emotional pain in my mind or something like that. That was a thought that okay, if it's not working, then find a alternative. That's how I look at various things even today.
So when you gave birth to BizBrain, you started working into this export-import industry, a industry which is very niche, especially for females.
Yes.
So what are the existing loopholes or gaps that you thought are there in the existing ecosystem? So were there complex custom duty issues or forex volatility? What made you start your own company?
So in indirect taxes, there was one assignment where we found a huge gap for a very large company. So it actually struck. So वो light होती है ना, दिमाग में बत्ती जलना. That happened at that moment, that okay, if this is the fate for such a large company, what would be the fate of other companies and also some other smaller companies? So that spark really helped me dive deeper into the subject. And the gap was mainly the policy compliances, or the policy understanding, or the policy implementation. Okay, there are a lot of things, a lot of complexities in customs. So right now, the solutions which we work are mainly surrounded by how do we make the complex things simple for the client, such that their businesses should grow.
So, in the initial times of any business, when the money is tight and liquidity uncertainty is high,
Yeah.
so how did you keep a balance between the day-to-day operations and the long-term strategy that you had for your business?
Yeah. So it is like you have to be patient enough for the initial few years. The time is different for everybody. Like for me, the time was 1.5 year, which is, I believe, not a very long time. But yes, that is how I managed the expenses. And I was like, okay, I had some past savings as well. So as I shared, I started investing at the age of 21 or 22. I had already some savings that if doesn't work and if I had to put some more money, I'll manage it myself. Or then the worst case is I'll borrow some from my family. But fortunately, I didn't have to go to that extent. So I had backups. So when you start, yes, you should have backups always to be very practical. And if you have savings, that is good. Yeah. So all this, all
So
this,
always have an emergency fund, backup
yeah,
plan
it has
ready.
to be there. Even today, I would have emergency funds at any point of time. That if this doesn't work, then what next?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So India's export landscape is definitely going under a major shift.
Yeah.
Earlier we were more service-driven industry, now
Yeah.
becoming a manufacturing hub.
Yeah.
So what, according to you, are the government schemes like PLI or GLP or other government initiatives that the government has taken to boost the export industry are really helpful?
Yeah, so there are many initiatives taken by government. The recent one is they put the export promotion program. उसके पहले they put the district export hub measure. So a lot of measures are being taken. One segment of measures is more to help the manufacturers manufacture with lot of good quality and compliance and all those things. So that is boosting manufacturing in India, and the schemes which one of which you mentioned, PLI, GLI, then for semiconductors, then lithium ion, then rare earth magnet. So there are again a lot of sector specific manufacturing related schemes. Mover is there, EPC. There are a lot of schemes under customs and foreign trade policy. The schemes which you mentioned are under the industrial policy side. So this all helps boost manufacturing, and the other basket of benefits and the incentives is to promote export competitiveness from India. So those are road tab, duty drawback, and lot of other export promotion measures which are forming part of foreign trade policy. Even e-commerce exports is under the radar of the government. That lot of handicraft and handloom and lot of such products which are Indian made by our artisans can be promoted from India. The direction of the government is very clear. India has trade agreements with more than 20-25 countries.
Correct.
Yeah, and it is the basket is expanding. Yeah.
So, finance world was predominantly perceived to be a male-dominated industry.
Right.
So, ratio is almost 80-20. So, I want to know what is the gender landscape in your segment, and especially what advice would you like to give to a young girl who is just aspiring to enter into this finance world when the society still questions whether these fields belong to females?
Yeah. So until you mentioned, I never knew, okay, that finance is so much male dominated. I never even thought that it could be male dominated because I have a lot of female friends. But yes, you are right. Any segment, I would put it like that. If you are capable, you should enter into, irrespective of the gender. Unfortunately, lot of things are talked about like, okay, you are a female, you can do this, that. It doesn't matter nowadays. If you believe in yourself, you can do it. That's the simple. That's the most simple thing.
That's a very progressive statement that you have said.
If you believe in yourself, the world will believe in you. That's it. I think there's nothing more to add on this.
Very well said. Very well said. So, being a CA and an entrepreneur, you are actively involved in the nitty-gritties of the balance sheet, taxes, and you take major financial decisions for your business.
Yeah.
I want to know what is the story on the other side of the table. Are you actively involved in the financial decisions for your family? Has the transition evolved?
Yes. So, fortunately, at my home, everybody is, they belong from a non-commerce background. So, I try to help my family in that manner that I take or I guide. I don't take, I guide them in their major financial decisions.
Okay, so you have 3 generations in your family.
Yeah.
Your mother-in-law, you yourself, and your daughter.
Yeah.
So what is the mindset shift that you have considered, for relating to finance in all the 3 generations?
Yes, this is very interesting. See, if I talk, I'll start from the late part, like from my mother and the mother-in-law side. At that time, the generation and their mindset was very different. They were like, okay, we will save everything. Their mindset was of saving. They never thought that, okay, we can invest and multiply and compound this.
Exactly.
They never had that mindset because they never got that exposure. First, very, very basic and a simple example I would do, which I do with her on a routine basis now. I would take her to a market or so and then ask her to deal and give the cash. Then I explained her just few days back writing a check. So I asked her to write a check. That what does check mean? I showed her her own checkbook. That okay, this is your name, this is your checkbook. You can write it into this, and if you write some amount here. If you write 1,000 to mama's account, then you can transfer this money just by writing this check. The best service you should do for your family is educate them, okay, about money and finance. I think if you can just bring that awareness even in your own family of 20, 30, 40, 50 people, you will be able to empower them and make them more aware, and they will then start taking decisions on their own, because nobody can be there doing everything for others. You have to just educate, empower, and then put them on the right track.
Exactly. So when you review your portfolio, what are the principles that guide you to decide the asset allocation? So let's say if you had 100 rupees to be invested today, how would be the allocation? Would it have mutual funds, debt, global market exposure?
So, I think my portfolio management has evolved. When I was in my early 20s, I was more risk averse because I wanted to have some certain amount of balance. At that time, I was very conservative in terms of my investments. I would invest only in golds or FDs or very fixed instruments. After 25, okay, once I tasted that, okay, this works well, then I started diversifying into stocks and mutual funds. So now 80% is stocks, mutual funds, and everything, and 20% is FDs, or because you also need to have some emergency funds. So it can happen at any point of time. And again, when you evolve, your environment around also evolves. Like you get into motherhood, you want to get into new ventures. So then your changing needs also come into place, right? So you have to keep evaluating and reviewing every time. That's what I would
So
say.
that was exactly my next question. Like
Okay.
building your business,
Yeah.
the Exim business, and nurturing a family all together is a task, is a
Yeah.
full-time duty.
Yeah.
So how do you maintain a balance between both of them?
I think the first thing I did was I never bifurcated it separately. I thought that, okay, everything needs me, okay, at the right time. Like, for example, if I keep doing every small little task in my office, that's never gonna work. I have to just educate one person in my office and delegate and finish it off. So that person is empowered. And by empowering others, you feel more empowered. Then you get time for bigger things, you get time for thinking differently.
So if you had to give one personal insight to someone who is just starting their financial journey, what would it be?
For that advice, I would like to share one very small story. I had heard this story when I was very young, even in school. I think my dad or somebody shared me this story. So there was one father-in-law, and he had 3 sons and 3 daughter-in-laws. He was like on the verge of retirement, and he wanted to see who is the smartest and who can handle my wealth, and I can pass on my wealth to someone. So he gave few grains to 3 daughter-in-law and asked them to keep it safe. And after few days, he would call and see what you have done with it. Okay.
Okay.
So he told that, okay, you have to keep it safe. I'll call anytime. So one daughter-in-law hid it in her cupboard. One daughter-in-law hid it in her kitchen. And the third daughter-in-law was a little smarter. She actually dug it, like put the seeds, the grains in the soil, and she started sowing it, taking care of it, nurturing it, and after a few months and all, there were more grains. So of course this is a story, right? But what take I had out of this is, see what unfortunately females do, I have seen, they only save. So like the other 2 daughter-in-law, we only save. But what the third daughter-in-law did, she invested. She put it in the soil, she took care of it, she reviewed it, she nurtured it. And after that, what she got was many grains. And she made something better out of it. She compounded it. And that's even the right with the finances. So the advice which I would like to give is 3 C's. You need to be clear. So first is clarity. Second is how much you want to invest. You need to calculate. And the third is consistency. And the outcome of this 3 C's is compounding effect. So what I mean is, if you are investing 10,000, after 10 years it could be 10 lakh, something like that.
Correct.
So you need to understand that if you are like 3 C's, clarity, calculation, and
Consistency.
consistency, yes.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is that saving is just the base for investment.
Yeah.
And by not saving, you are itself taking a risk.
Yeah,
By not investing, you are itself taking a risk.
And again, see, we don't even know that, okay, what is the inflation? I'm going a little technical, which may be difficult for few audience, but again, by not investing, you are downgrading your money value. Because if you don't invest, the value becomes lesser. Because
Correct.
inflation, if you have to upkeep, at least with the inflation, which is 6, 7, 8%, depending on the times, you are actually devaluing. So not investing is not an option anymore. That's what I would like to drive.
Exactly. So you worked very closely with business owners and families. Now, for someone who want to start a financial stability or a financial portfolio for their kids, what is your take on the government schemes, the Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana?
Yeah.
What is your take on that?
So the year my daughter was born, we started investing in Sukanya Samruddhi. She's 7 years right now, and so we do it every year. So it has a lot of benefits. Of course, it provides a fixed return. Also, the maturity is after 18 years. Correct me wherever I am wrong. You can also get the deduction under ATC, and also it is tax free. So I think there are a lot of such initiatives driven by government, particularly for the girl child. I think that has to be taken care of. And again, though you have not asked this question, but I would like to share a few more things. That depending on your age, your money philosophy and your requirements would change.
Absolutely.
Like if you are in the early 20s, you would be more early 20s or late 20s or late 30s. Your risk appetite would be different. So you need to identify how much risk you want to take. I want to go riskier. Don't want to take risk. I think above 50, the portfolio would be medium risk. Above 60, it would be again conservative. So again, depending on your age and your requirements of your future life, which you can envisage, you need to do the backward planning and then achieve and identify what works best for you.
So I absolutely second your thought of having a financial security or a financial portfolio for a kid.
Yeah.
So just imagine if a girl is having a financial portfolio even before she starts her Instagram account.
Yeah.
So these days, as
Yeah.
in when the kids are born, the
Yeah.
Instagram account gets
Is
opened.
yeah.
So just imagine what a mindset shift if
Yeah.
people start building a financial portfolio rather than building
Yeah,
opening a Instagram
absolutely,
account.
Absolutely. I think the day your kid is born, get your Aadhaar card, everything done, and get your bank account open, start investing.
Exactly. So
Yeah, financial discipline.
instead of giving toys and games,
Yeah.
give financial portfolio so it would have
Yeah.
a security for them.
Yeah, right.
And now my last question is, you being an entrepreneur, every person has one moment in their life, where they break down very badly. So what has been that moment for you, and by brick, piece by piece, how did you bounce back again?
Yeah. So I think in my professional life, every day is a challenge, but I would go to my further back period where I did my CA and I failed in the last year. So in my CA finals, I failed once, and that was very tough for me to even envisage that I could fail, because I was always a very
Bright
very good
student.
in academics throughout. So it was a shocker for me. So I took almost 10 days to realize that I didn't clear this exam. But what I learned at the same time, that I might not have given the efforts which I was required to. And I almost worked for 16, 17 hours a day for almost 4 months. And the best part which came out of it was I cracked exams, of course, but at the same time I was gold medalist in indirect taxes, and that became my career.
Wow.
So if I look back, if it didn't happen, if I didn't fail, I don't know which path I must have walked through.
So destiny always takes you where you actually
yeah,
belong.
you are actually belong to.
Correct.
So challenges now I've realized that challenges has to be there.
So now we move towards the last part of this podcast, which is I would like to ask you some few quick questions, and just tell me whatever comes to your mind when you first hear them. So a life lesson that you have learned the hard way.
Consistency and discipline. Okay, only one word?
No, that's completely all right.
Consistency and discipline.
Okay. One investment every woman should start, irrespective of the age.
You should start investing at least SIP very basic. And yes, it is very easy to start, and it will help you.
One financial habit that changed your game.
Starting early.
One mistake hope your kids never repeat.
Understanding about finance and money at the earliest possible. So I would say, if they start, once they start reading and writing, you should at least start educating them in there, because the school curriculum would never teach that.
And one best financial advice that you have received.
One best financial advice: goal oriented decisions.
Perfect. So, this brings to the end of this podcast. Your journey is a remarkable blend of ambition, motherhood, and self discipline. So, before we just sign up, anything that you have to say to all the females listening to this podcast regarding financial independence and freedom?
For financial independence, I think it is more of your mindset, which you need to just be clear with yourself and take ownership of your money. Take ownership in the sense you start taking decisions for your money. And other thing, I think one frequent question which I get from a lot of my other counterparts or females particularly is, how do you manage again? But never take breaks. Even if you feel like slogging, like some days it happens even with me that, okay, today like I'll leave everything apart. I'll not do anything. But yes, it happens for a moment during a day. But again you bounce back and think that, okay, I'll make it work. So that courage, that willpower drives everything. So for anything you do, willpower is something, the confidence is something which will never let you break.
I want to ask
yeah.
one more question here.
Yeah.
How has your journey been while you were working and then you entered into motherhood and then you restarted again? So, how did you cope up with that gap?
So when my first child was born, I started working when it was only 20 days. She was 20 days old. What I did was, there was some urgent assignment, and that actually made me work. I called my colleague. She came at my home, and we finished our assignment in half an hour, 1 hour, and then she went back to office. So I always had that mindset, okay, I will have to make it work. So I never thought of taking a break, though I slowed down in between. I mindfully slowed down that, okay, I will have to take care of my health. I'll have to take care of health of my kids as well. I slowed down, but I never stopped. So if you stop something in between, it is very difficult for you to restart. So I cannot advise anyone, but my share to the audience would be that never stop anything. You can find ways to navigate through that. If you're walking on this path, you need to change your direction, but always keep walking, keep going. And I think it will take you to heights which you can't even imagine.
Perfect.
I'm still walking.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This entire conversation has been an eye opener, and I am sure many of us would definitely relate to this.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting.
So, as we wrap up today's conversation, one thing is very clear: growth is never linear, and the twist that we often fear leads us to exactly where we belong. And if your path also feels messy right now, trust it, embrace it, and keep moving forward. Because the Meenal story reminds us that this is not the end, this is just the beginning. This is Ruchika Kothari on the Insights Duo. Until next time, stay invested, stay empowered, and keep investing in yourself.
And follow Shreedom for more such stories.